destroyed because of this freak. I won't allow it! These babies just saved this lame fest party!
What's going on? You are listening to This Week in Geek.net. I'm Mike. You're not. But I am not alone. Finally. I'm joined by my compatriot, my brother-in-arms, my best friend from the lovely city of New Berlin.
Alex, the producer.
Threw me off for a second, didn't I?
I'm just tired, buddy.
But see, yeah, I have way too much energy for this time of night, because as if we're recording this, we are pre-recording this because tomorrow is June 22nd, but today is Father's Day. It's also the summer solstice, but it is also Indigenous Peoples Day. So we decided we're going to take the week off because we've got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, you're visiting your dad. My dad called me today, which I got to return that call tomorrow. There's been a lot going on in my life. I mean, often on the show here, we typically talk about what's been going on in our lives, which the last few weeks, okay, Alex, I've made the most horrible comparison to my life recently. I'm racking up deaths like Call of Duty kill streaks. I'm one death away from calling in a airstrike or a supply drop, depending on which one I want to do. A couple weeks ago, I went to a fairly close family friend. She was an ex-girlfriend of mine. I went up to Trenton/Belleville to go pay my respects there. And then we had Blair's uncle pass away. His son just got married yesterday, so he literally missed the wedding by like a week. We had another family friend pass away. My friend Jordan, his father passed away, and most recently my buddy Sharuk, his caregiver's mother passed away. So we're going to the funeral tomorrow here at the Basilica here in Guelph. Last time I was there was for another friend of mine when she passed away from cancer in the winter of 2024, my friend Kate Nixon. So yeah, it has not been great, realistically, on that front. However, though, I've also been tremendously busy as Birdman is now working 4 jobs right now, all paying gigs. Don't know how I'm going to manage this. I'll figure it out. It's pretty cool. I'm working for a local consulting firm. I'm a communications director, which is really fun. And it's been an interesting experiment. We're actually doing some really cool stuff here in the Indigenous community. Other than that, I'm going to be a podcast camp counselor again, so up at CFRU. Really looking forward to teaching the wonders of showing kids how to make fart jokes. Oh my God, I had one kid.
Don't play them any of our old outtakes, because it's probably not.
One kid knew who we were.
Uh-oh.
That surprised me. We had like our first day of camp. We're talking, we're kind of hanging out. Kid comes in, goes, "Hey, Mike." I'm like, "Hey, how's it going, so and so? I know who you are." I felt my heart drop. I was like, "Oh God, what did you?"
Depending on who says that and in the context, that can be some very scary connotations involved.
Yeah, because I'm like
if somebody says, "I know who you are," I would go, "Why?"
What time period are we talking about?
See, people without stupid choices in their past would just go, "Oh, really?" And they would assume it's from something good. People that have made poor choices in their life and stupid choices like I have and you have, that sometimes can be, uh-oh.
Well, yeah, like it's so strange because like the internet culture has grown so much, and like you and I have both been online for 20 something years. Like Twig has been around since 2007. Like that's
not
20
counting
years of content.
and we're really the first generation of people that were raised from childhood to have some access to the internet, not necessarily at the home, but like access to the internet through school at a younger age was still pretty new. But like, we were accessing forums and stuff when you're in your early teens, when that was new. So the culture of the late 90s is very different from the culture of the mid 2000s, which is very different than the culture now. So when somebody says, I know you, you have to go, which generation of internet do you know me from?
Oh yeah, because like, do you know me from my Usenet days, from my GeoCities and Angel Fire, or
from like the multiple eras of Twig? Where I would say probably in Twig 4.0 with the people. Like there was the OG crew, then there was the middle crew, then there was
the expedition years.
Then there was the years of the first 5 years of when you were first 3 years or so of when you were back in Guelph, where it was like half old crew, half new crew, and then it's been just a set solid amount of people the last 6 years.
But
right, so it's basically every 5 years we go through shifts, and it's like if it's from the earliest era, it's like, okay, that's not necessarily bad. If it's from the era where you weren't connected to a radio station anymore and it was just anything that came to mind, anything that you said came to mind that might be funny, you'd say, and then not necessarily think about what you were saying, and then you realize that could be a problem.
Yeah,
the internet is forever.
Like, I think for the most part, I've kept a fairly good profile on what I've said, but I've also kind of looked back at it, and it's like, it's so funny because like I look back at some of my friends who are old school content creators. Some of them have retired and moved on. Some of them have completely disappeared from the internet, and others are still continuing on in various capacities. And it's like, I come from a really old school group of internet personalities, and it's like, it's amazing how many of us are still around and also how many of us aren't. Like, I know in the last year, the gaming historian Norm retired either this year or late last year, and he'd been around since 2008.
He had said he was going to retire, and then he came back with a video that was really good, and then he's like, I'll come back with this new project, and then he made a video like 9 months later. He's like, I don't have it in me to do it. And like to keep it up, like the money was okay, probably the effort. It's just you have to be passionate for it. And he realized that he can still be a creator in some other fashion.
Yeah, because like him and his wife do that like history podcast, and that's pretty good.
And I think where you'll see a lot of people shifting, we're one of the last audio only, pure audio only shows. Whereas there are other people out there that do internet radio that have been doing it longer than us, even like in the States, but there is a visual component, like they'll like I'm
live
thinking
stream,
of like radio,
Twitch cam or whatever. Like
Nash with Radio Dead Air. For how long has he been doing that? 25 years.
Yeah.
And yes, it's an audio show, but he's had a webcam set up while they record it live, live to air, and that's where a lot of people have gone, or to a visual video podcast style. Or you see very few people that are doing basically the same thing that's in their lane that they're comfortable with. Like I would say James with AVGN is he's in his lane of like, this is what he feels comfortable doing. And it's now become like comfort food for people. Cause like, that's his thing. But then most of the others that are from like the 2005 to 2010 era of when they started, most of them have now moved, if they're not out of it entirely, they're now moved to mostly live streaming, to live streams and live podcasting. And that's pretty much it.
Which is something like I tried streaming and it was fun for a while, but it's not something I could remain super consistent with. Plus with like copyright ID and flagging copyrighted content, because I used to love doing Birdman's Forgotten Saturday mornings. But at the same time, with the era of YouTube and with Blip being no longer a thing in Daily Motion, it's not the way it was anymore. And
it can still be done. Like you could do it if it's all
public domain.
Public domain stuff where you can monetize it, and if it's not public domain stuff, the way around they'll get around it is they don't mind necessarily if they get demonetized if have a large enough Patreon pool funding the back end of it, right?
Yeah. And then like even now when I look at my content creation, like I still have fun doing the show here with you, with Adam, with Dave and Ken and JT and everybody. But it's like I find more joy in doing, I don't know, sometimes with my TTRPG content, like I love writing, but I had a thing this week, and literally this is so new to me. So I'm a spoken word artist. I work with Guelph Spoken Word. I perform almost every month. Last night was the first time.
What you're saying is you're a dirty beatnik with a little beret hat on, and I'm picturing like Mike Myers and So I Married an Axe Murderer. Woman, whoa, man.
That happens. So literally,
that's picture that, but a wheelchair.
So last night we had 15 poets come up, which is unheard of. And this is the first time I didn't move on the second round in 2 years. That hit me in a way I didn't expect. And it's not anybody's fault, because I've noticed a lot of my political and indigenous stuff is not landing. And the feature this month did this really awesome indigenous poem, but he said to the crowd, he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm retired from slamming. And I'm like, that's an interesting thing to say. And I got talking to my mentor there, who's this really nice gentleman named Fannin, and he was talking with me, and he's like, Mike, this in essence, the crowd is rebuilding. We've changed venues a few times, but Poetry Slam is a bar game. And when he said game, that's when it clicked for me, and I was like, okay. So yeah. I came home and I had a couple hits off my vape pen, and I was thinking, you know what, man, you're right, it's a game. I don't need to prove myself anymore. I'm a published author. I have multiple books. I've been a feature. I've won this thing 2 or 3 times. If I'm only doing it to get paid, then I'm not an artist. This is not why I do what I do. So if I'm going to participate in poetry nights, I'm only doing open mic from here on out. I'm going to retire for at least a year. I don't have anything more to prove. Yeah. And I think that's the healthiest decision I've made in like a year. Like, I got to realize, not when I look at my art as a competition, I've lost the fucking plot, and I'm not doing that. I would be no better than the people that I don't much care for in certain other realms. So I'm thinking, you know what? That's a healthy way. Bow out, learn, don't stop learning, but do that. So to move things on to a more lighthearted bit of the show, what have I been playing? Well, I finally started going back through my back catalog. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I'm playing through some of the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot DLC. I've started Pragmata. I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. My God, that is such a feel-good game to me. And I'm trying different wacky things. Like, maybe I'll play the entire game with Aerith in her Shinra uniform, or maybe I'll have Yuffie on my team the entire time. Or what happens if I have Barrett hang around the whole time? And it's with the head start and the progression tools, the assist tools, it's so much more fun. And now that I can play Queen's Blood, kind of understanding what I'm doing, not really. It's fun because I'm like, I like magic. This kind of plays like magic in certain ways. I get it. And I don't know, it's been fun. I'm also just watching movies I haven't gone back to in a really long time, because I know obviously I hang out with all the cinephiles, the movie dorks like Ken, Adam, and Dave, and I've come to a really weird conclusion.
They like everything. You probably
not
have to have
Adam.
me come
Adam
on.
will stand defensive on certain things.
Thank God, because it's like every one of our cinephile friends finds almost no faults in almost anything, and I'm like, it's not about critiquing for the sake of critiquing, but there aren't enough movies in the world that are perfect, but they make it seem like every movie is perfect. It's like a movie could be hated by everybody, and then they're like, well, I liked it. It's like, no, you didn't, or you didn't pay attention. And that's my argument to a lot of cinephiles, where it's like, I love your optimistic personalities for a lot of the people, but it's like, you can call trash trash. You can enjoy trash, but you don't give it an A+ rating if you know objectively it's bad, but you subjectively like it.
Yeah, like for example, like you can rate something a D but still love it. So that's fine. Just
Oh, yeah.
own that. Like, and it's weird. So
And that's sorry, and that's not to throw anybody under the bus, but it's like I know I have a lot of friends like that too that are like, I can't even ask them if they go to a movie that I'm on the fence about, I don't even ask them because they'll just say, yeah, it's great. And I'm like, but is it?
see, my barometer for most movies, there are two people that I trust implicitly. You and Dave Denoyer. Dave will be optimistic, but he won't bullshit me.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's optimistic. Yeah, he's optimistic. I will, but I will also, not just nuclear. I won't do it for the sake of it. If a movie is objectively trash, I will tell you it's trash. But then I will also say maybe I enjoyed it because I enjoyed the Schadenfreude of the trash. So like I can tell you, and I will be completely honest, if a movie is bad or fun bad. Yeah. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't differentiate, that there is sometimes something is so abysmally terrible that it becomes good.
Yeah.
And then if it's like, I have friends who have a hard time figuring out how to articulate if a movie's bad or not. And the best way I can tell them is, were you ever bored? If you're bored watching it, it's a bad movie. It could be a slow movie and still be exciting, but if it's a slow movie and boring, then it's bad. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, I've also been so anyway. The point I was trying to make is I'm starting to collect certain movies on 4K. Like I have a lot of Blu-rays, a lot of 4Ks, but I'm also realizing I don't want to collect everything. I'm only going to collect movies that really have an emotional connection to me. And I've recently bought Shout Factory's Day of the Dead 4K. And there's some controversy about that release. There's a number of people that have talked about the audio track that's from like the Japanese Laserdisc, stuff like that. They had to use the original interpositive, not the negative, because no one can find it. And it's a really good 4K. But what I've really noticed is I fall asleep to George Romero's zombie movies. Take from that what you will. But I've noticed how much I love film score, and specifically the score out of Day of the Dead is one of my absolute favorites of all time.
I can see that.
Yeah, like it's got this weird 80s just synthy emotion. And the Gorillaz, I want to say in 2005, sampled the character of Salazar, where him and Sarah land in the helicopter at the beginning of the movie. And he's like, hello out there. And he's using the bullhorn. And there's something so haunting about that movie. And a lot of people say that's George Romero's most nihilistic movie. I disagree with that. And it's been really interesting just going back and revisiting all those Dead movies.
Nihilistic movie. Wouldn't it be like Land of the Dead or Survival?
Those ones are more, well, it's really weird you mention Diary of the, or Land of the Dead is showing why we're terrible. Survival is human. That's what's keeping us apart. But when he did Diary of the Dead, that's like, that is social media right now.
Is that the really bleak? They're all bleak, but one of those two final movies were very bleak.
I would say Survival is probably the bleakest one, whereas Diary was like Night of the Living Dead as if seen through the lens of a iPhone. And it's I don't know, it's something we've talked about a few times here on the show, so we can't revisit that topic until Twilight of the Dead, because that just recently got announced because Greg Nicotero got hired on as like the special effects person for that, which is awesome. And yeah, and that's kind of what I've been doing, is just going back and rewatching it, trying to find little bits of joy, but also just trying to find new
scores.
Things. Yeah.
Sorry, if you're looking for scores and soundtracks of that style, the two groups you're going to want to look up, and they're like, tons of YouTube like compilations of their stuff or like full tracks. You're going to want to look up the band Goblin.
Yes,
As in, like,
because they did Dawn of the Dead in 1978 with.
they did a lot of the Argento films too.
Yes, exactly.
So they're like a little bit of prog rock, but mostly like disco-y early rock synth stuff, and sometimes like eclectic. And the other band is Tangerine Dream.
Okay.
Tangerine Dream is like one of the first pure ambient like synth stuff. I know they did the score for the Michael Mann directed James Caan starring movie Thief in 1981.
Yeah,
and
you
a few
showed
others,
me
like,
that, and that movie was fucking awesome. We are talking about that before the end of this year
Yeah,
because I really
and
liked it.
if they haven't seen it, I'll bet you that that Dave and Ken probably would like to be in on that, because that is like end of the 70s style of crime pictures, and before the 80s style took over. It's sort of like it's
The transition
50%. Yeah, because it's, Michael Mann, it's the same director and team that ended up making Miami Vice, but they hadn't switched to that pure 80s slick editing style yet. So it's like 50-50. So it's like 70s synth stuff with like 70s character, the way it's shot, but then it has the feel of an 80s movie. So it's like that perfect, transition period. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically to get more to, I'll find a few other artists like that you might want to listen to, because Tangerine Dream has like, they've got like no lyrics in their stuff. So it's like great background music if you're writing and doing stuff to put on. I'll briefly say I didn't have nearly as much going on as you did in the last couple weeks, but I'll
Don't
just
stack
mention
kill
what it was.
streaks, okay?
Yeah, basically, it took me, like, I didn't think it was going to be that much, but I had my energy zapped so bad from that UTI and antibiotics that I had, where it took me like a week and a half to start feeling normal again.
Yeah,
after
like,
taking
honestly, that shit'll knock you flat on your ass. And I speak as someone who spent 4 months in the hospital on antibiotics. All things considered, Alex, you recovered quick.
Well, when I went to see my doctor, and it was the nurse practitioner there, and I explained it, like, do I need another week of it? Because they said usually for guys, if you get it, it's generally 1 to 2 weeks they'll give you. She's like, no, if you're not having symptoms, fine. And she's like, just drink a shit ton of water, essentially. I'm like, I already drink like 8 cups. She's like, no, like drink like 12 to 16 cups over a day for the next like couple of weeks, and make sure that everything's flushing out of you. She's like, you probably were dehydrated, and then your bladder backed up, and then you got an infection. And I was like, really? She's like, that's usually what happens to guys. And she's like, that's why it's not as common. I was like, okay. So I'm just drinking a crap ton of water. But basically, for that whole week where I was on it, it was also the week of Summer Games Fest. So like the last 2 weeks has been pretty busy that way, and just like trying to decompress from it. And I was also trying to figure out why I wasn't sleeping so well. And I realized it's because part of my bed frame is broken. And I didn't realize it because it's a king size bed, and the bed frame is one of those metal frames below, but it's actually 2 twin XL frames that are bolted together. That's the style of it. So it has like double the support beams in the center and support legs, but 2 of the legs were kind of busted on the one side after like 9 years of, I guess, getting in and out of bed, and it slowly like, rocks it back and forth, and eventually like, I guess the welds on the legs started to get loose and broke. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize it was broken until I really stood and looked at it. I'm like, it looks like it's sagging in one spot. And so I'm going to have to get a new one of them. So it was sort of like, I didn't realize that my body was sleeping off kilter. And that's why I was sleeping kind of funny. And I was like, that's weird. So got that sorted out. And as far as like movies and stuff, I am planning to take my dad to see Jackass on Thursday. It's going to be his Father's Day gift. My brother and I are going to treat him out to Jackass, the best and last. I believe it's like 50% or more old clips from the other movies with them talking about it, and then they filmed like 40 minutes of new skits and stunts because they're too old to do it anymore. But they filmed a few new ones. I heard that Bam's not in it at all, except for archival footage. But there is going to be 1 or 2 things that they filmed for Jackass 4 that he was in that are going to make it into there. So we're going to take him to see that. Outside of that, I've had like a bunch of games that I've been checking out, movies and stuff have come in. So I'm going to be having reviews in this show in the next week on a bunch of the stuff that's come in for the June, and I guess some early July previews of certain things. So I've been sort of keeping busy when I've not been tired. And as far as going back and playing games, I decided to go back and play Persona 5 Royal but on PC because it's on Game Pass, and that also gives me a save file for the Xbox when I'm done. That way I'll have a save for both Xbox and PlayStation, the same way I've done with all the Mass Effect games. And I'm playing it on like as fast as I can, just using a guide and fast forwarding things that I don't want to see. And I'm like at the end of the main game, before the royal stuff starts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still 450 hours. I'm like, God. And that's with me skipping everything. So it's like a 150-hour game. I forgot about that, like to do everything.
See, there's something kind of special that I like about Japanese RPGs. I think in a certain way people call them they don't respect your time. I would counter that with saying maybe they're time consuming, but it wants you to have a full experience.
Yeah, like if this was my first time playing it like I did in 2020, and specifically if I wasn't reviewing it, like in 2020 I had to review it, I had to play that fast, and it took me a week to beat it, because it's like 100 some odd hours. But if I was like new, I'll give this advice to people. If you want to jump in, Persona 5 is a good one to start with, because
yes, 100%.
It is also what, like, I loved 4, but I went back and played 4 about a few months ago, and I'm like, okay, it now is finally feeling the age of being a Vita port, right? So it feels, it's not worth it unless you really want to go back, because the new one is coming in February. Mm-hmm. And the new one is using the art style and all the gameplay improvements and everything that was in 5 and then beyond that. So it's way better to play the remake. But 5 still holds up. If you want to start with it, it's a good game to start with, because there's multiple difficulties. But when I say take your time, I mean really take your time, because it takes place over the whole year, and then there's the routines you're doing. I would suggest per gameplay session to only play one in-game week at a time per session.
Okay.
Because some days are quicker, where there's not much going on or it's scripted. But then some days might be that you're going into a dungeon. And I would also suggest that when you're going into a castle, which is the main dungeons in the game, you usually have to go in 3 times. You go in to get introduced to it, then you go in to find the treasure that you're then going to be sending the calling card for. And then the 3rd time you go in, you capture it, and that's the boss battle. I would suggest if you go in, don't do all 3 within one gaming session. Spread it out, especially if it's your first play. Yeah. And you'll have, easily, if you take your time, you're playing it on a comfortable difficulty for yourself, and maybe you have a guide, because maybe you do want to have do a 100% playthrough, because the game is designed that you can do that. Or in New Game Plus, things carry forward and you can see different things. But let's say you want to do a complete playthrough 100%. It might be 150, 170 hours for you to do that. So this could be one of your games where it's your entire summer game. Like you play, play 3 or 4 hours at 2 or 3 times a week over the course of a summer, and you've got, a great summer game. So anyway, that's all I've been up to, is basically playing that, trying to get prepped, and I'm having a good time. But if I didn't already beat it once, I wouldn't be rushing through it like I am now. I just want to see like key points right now.
Yeah, like for me, I want to replay those games probably maybe during the winter. Maybe I'll replay one of the Persona games, because I'm looking forward to 4 like quite a bit. Actually.
I would go with playing 3, the remake of 3, because if it's not on Game Pass anymore, it'll be discounted around that time, because they want people to go buy 4. And 3 is where the bare bones, like the guts of everything, was made from for 4 and 5. Like it's a smaller, more concise game than those 2. Mm-hmm. So I would say go ahead. I would say try 3 during your winter break, because then in February 4 comes out, the remake, and then you can choose to play 5 if you want to, or wait till 6. But yeah, I mean, I'm having a good time. So
yeah,
that's all I've been really up to. Just a lot of gaming and different things. I've got reviews coming out, whenever soon for that. But yeah, if anybody's listening, why we're doing this, we're not doing the news, as we mentioned at the top of the recording here, or we're not doing the news or the weird news, because we don't want to talk about all the people dying. Well, yeah, or in games media, like very briefly mentioned that one of the co-founders of Ubisoft died in a horrific plane crash. That's the story. It sucks. And you could speculate. We could do entire shows about what does this mean for them. People are going to do that all online. We're not trying to do that, especially as we're 2 weeks away from going on our break. We also don't want to necessarily talk about like Microsoft all the
Closing
hubbub and
studios. Yeah.
there's too much going on right now that isn't finalized yet. So it's like, maybe we'll break in and do a pro.
Well, that, and it's not fun to talk about negative stuff. And we're not like the positivity police. Like, if something is terrible, we will tell you. But at the same time, and I want to enjoy what I'm talking about.
If something catastrophic happens to Microsoft or Ubisoft, we'll break in with a prototype special quick episode directly about that. But we didn't want to do that. We had a hard time gathering other news in that time. We've been busy, and weird news is always weird news. There's always cool stuff we can do there. So we're saving that stuff. Any news over the last, like this week's news and anything over next week that pops up, we'll have on our show next week before we go on our break. But this is going to be just a longer introduction. Here's what's up. Here's what we're doing, that sort of stuff. Then we're going to break into having a bunch of reviews that we had ready to go for this. And then we'll come back at the end and, do our sort of sign-offs, give an update on what programming is coming up, and that's pretty much that. So that's why this is a longer, rambling intro than we usually have.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to hear some reviews from Alex, you're going to hear some reviews from me, and they'll just be done in whatever order Alex decides. So we're going to take a small break here, right here on thisweekingeek.net, and when we come back after these reviews, we'll talk about what's coming up on the show in the next couple of weeks, what our plans are for the summer, and how our final live show of the spring I guess it'll be the spring, will be on the 29th, but we want to give you an idea on what you can expect to hear from us this summer. So we'll be back, guys, right after this, only on thisweekingeek.net.
Alex, the producer here, and our friends at EA sent EA Sports UFC 6 for us to check out on Xbox. Now, this is obviously available on all platforms, PC, all that stuff. Interestingly enough, this is probably the first time I've played a UFC game in, it's probably 5-6 years or more. I remember, my brother was much more into this than I was. He was always the one that would pull me in to watch actual UFC, and we bonded over that. And I was more of like the traditional pro wrestling game fan sort of thing. But I remember them being more technical when it came to the UFC stuff, and this has found a pretty good balance of having the simulator aspect of it being like realistic. There's like a flow to it, and you actually level up yourself as you play. Like if you're playing through the different modes, you do get the ability to basically like RPGify yourself, upgrade your fighter, learn different moves, spend points, all this sort of stuff. It's actually quite fun overall. This is going to be a quick overview review because I'm not the most versed in all of the lingo when it comes to it, but I can say this, the graphics are pretty good. They seem very close to the real life people. The motion capture is quite good. Obviously the controls feel pretty tight. There is a few moments when you're first playing where you're like, this feels a little slippery, and you realize, oh no, it's supposed to be like that because of the flow of how a real fight would actually happen. You're not just like jabbing a punch. You're actually being able to like manipulate them, move them onto the ground, take control, ground and pound, all that fun stuff. There's also, I want to point out, a ton of accessibility options when it comes to both like anything for visual, audio, as well as customizing it to the difficulty to your liking of however you'd like. So you can make it a lot easier if you're having trouble. You can also make it more challenging. You can granularly change a ton of different aspects of like, is the CPU harder to ground and pound? Is it harder to do submissions and every move? You can granularly change all of those different options and more. It's actually quite good that way. The package of it's pretty good. It offers a fair amount of features. I played a little bit online, but mostly played through the campaigns, and there's a bunch of different modes and just every character, it seems to have been crafted quite well to be as close of a representation of the actual fighters as I've seen in any game before. So I think it's pretty good. Should this be your first UFC game? I think you could jump in pretty much. Like, as me, it's been years and years and years since I played any of these. So with that in mind, I had a pretty good time with it. It might be worth checking out. If you're unsure, check out a trailer or two, and I'll put a link in the description of the show for you.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here, and once again, I'm here to talk to you about something we got sent from our friends over at Hasbro. I'm talking about Transformers Age of the Prime's Deluxe Class Target Master Sure Shot. I love gimmick toys. I love late 80s gimmick toys. And I've kind of found myself getting into the Headmasters, the Target Masters, the Pretenders, anything that was in that weird era where I was getting more of these toys as a kid. And Sure Shot is one of those figures. When it was leaked a while back, I was like, that looks cool. I'm into that. I have some of these figures. I have Point Blank that was released in Legacy. I don't have a Crosshairs yet. I'm currently looking for one. But once I get this one, these will be the 3 original Target Masters that weren't Cup, Hot Rod, and Blur. So Sure Shot is a red and yellow, kind of like a futuristic kind of dune buggy with his Target Master companion, which is named Spoil Sport. I'm just looking on the back of the package there. And what is a Target Master? Well, it's a robot that turns into a gun. Like, hey, bro, I hear you like guns with robots. And yeah, that's the whole gimmick of Target Masters, is they have little partners that turn into weapons. And it integrates into the vehicle mode as well, at least in the cartoon. Here, I don't display mine like that. He just holds his Target Master buddy, and that's how it is. As far as articulation, really good, really big fan of it. I particularly am a big fan of the leg pose ability. I like how the wheels fold in behind his knees, or I guess behind his ankles rather. I just think it looks great. The thing that really impresses me is I like how bright and vibrant this is. This screams 1987, 88, whenever this figure originally came out. Really nice looking head sculpt. He's just got like this really clean looking silver face, nice smooth black, kind of like a helm. And, you know, this vibrant, bright blue Autobot era visor looks really, really nice. And a nice, clean, crisp Autobot symbol on his chest. To transform him, I will admit, I did have a little bit of trouble trying to get certain parts to snap in, at least the first time around. That's why we have wonderful YouTubers like That Toy Guy and MGO to help me out, because I'm old. But yeah, like, big fan of this figure. Now, is this figure for everybody? Well, it is a unique mold. I totally suspect this will probably get turned into the Power Master, which I think was called Joyride, which I think came out around the same time, if I recall correctly. Again, I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments of something. But no, seriously, Autobot Sure Shot, I think he looks great. It's a cool looking vehicle mode. It's a good looking robot mode, but it is a niche Autobot faction. If you're not into the Target Masters, maybe you can skip this one, but I think he looks great. I think he's got a lot of really cool kind of play value. I'm waiting for like I said, probably the redeco when Joyride gets announced, and I think that's the name of the character. But yeah, seriously, I think he is pretty cool. I think you should probably check this out. So once again, that has been Transformers Age of the Primes Target Master Sure Shot that you can check out at your local retailers.
Hey, that's great they promoted you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Are you assisting Dominique too?
No, I'm not really assisting anyone. I'm the assistant editor.
Did you get a raise?
It's not about a raise. Lucy Berliner, I just brought it in for Harry to look at.
I love Lucy Berliner.
How do you know her? We're neighbors. She really wants you to do a piece. Probably a cover.
A wonderful thing about you, your ambition, focus.
The people at Frame think you're an amazing photographer.
You remember Sid?
How can I forget Sid? You're really at the center of it all now.
And that's what you think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what it seems like.
It's not meaningless to me. This is what I care about.
I think I need to get out of town right now.
We have a deadline.
We'll get something into them. Trust me, okay? Just come with me.
Can I take pictures of you? You look really sexy, actually. It's hot in here. No, you're hot.
Alex, the producer here, with this a quickie review. Our friends over at the Criterion Collection have sent over High Art, a film by Lisa Cholodenko. The movie is from 1998 and stars Ali Sheedy, and it's basically a piece that looks at the New York art scene, wrapped in the guise of a queer romance is the best way to describe it. It's about a photographer that has slipped into a life of using heroin and relationship with an editor at an up-and-coming photography magazine. It's actually quite a good story. I'd never heard of the film before, so I was glad that I had a chance to check it out. I won't spoil anything. The performances are all really good. And obviously, being from the Criterion Collection, it's from the late 90s. It's from 98. It has all the trappings of good late 90s, director-driven independent pictures. So, it has the 5.1 surround sound, but it's not bombastic. It's very dialogue focused in the center channel first. 185:1 aspect ratio, so it is in the original aspect ratio. Nothing's been cropped or changed or anything here. It has a 4K digital restoration, approved by the director, as well as the audio has been approved for, by the director as well. And then there's an audio commentary from 2004. That was on the old DVD release of this. They've also have a new conversation between the director and filmmaker Karen Kusama. There's interviews with Ali Sheedy, Radha Mitchell, and the photographer Jojo Wilden. There is Dinner Party from 1997, which is a short film also by the director included. I always like when they show that included in sets here. There's English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, and there's an essay from B. Ruby Rich included. Visually, it's pretty muted. It's everything you'd hope for in the release. It's not too grainy. It represents the cinematic experience quite well from what this was originally. Audio, as I said, is mostly dialogue heavy, so it's mostly at the center channel at the front, but there is a little bit of room ambience involved with the surround channels. The rear channel's only activated very seldomly when you're watching it, but it's a good character picture. It's another great release from the Criterion Collection. I always love when they make me watch things that I've never heard of or never seen before, and this was definitely worth a watch. So I'll put a link in the description of the show if you're interested in something like this. I'd say it's probably worth picking up.
Hey guys, this is Mike the Birdman here. Once again, I'm here to bring you something exciting. As you guys know, I am currently doing a review show and a topic show right on Guelph's own community radio, CFRU 93.3 FM, and that's the show where I talk about the tabletop role-playing game hobby. Well, once again, I'm working in collaboration with our friends over at Free RPG Day, which is happening this weekend, June 27th. Please go to their website, freerpgday.com, to find a participating retailer close to you. I know my own local game store, The Dragon, is going to be doing some stuff on that day. You should definitely go check it out. So this year, once again, I was sent the wonderful kit from our friends over at Free RPG Day, and I like to take a very casual breeze through some of the books in there that I think you should be picking up, as there's like a lot of quick start rules, a lot of sample stuff, some exclusive adventures from some of your favorite RPG retailers, people like Paizo, people like Goodman Games, Darrington Press, Artau Sorian, and a bunch of people you probably haven't had a chance to check out just yet, but there's always an opportunity to check out something new and exciting. So for this year, I want to just pick a few random things out of the box that I think kind of looked interesting to me. So later on this summer, we're going to be getting the newest expansion to the Marvel multiverse role-playing game involving the Secret Wars. So what they did this year is they're giving out a kind of an expansion preview featuring a battle world adventure, which is something I really look forward to. I know Matt Forbeck, who worked on the game, and honestly, the Marvel 616 dice system I think is really fantastic. It's a really fun game. I've bought everything for it. I think I'm maybe missing some of the exclusive stuff. Since I'm not going to Gen Con, I don't get the cool Doctor Doom cover, but I already got my copy pre-ordered on Amazon, but whatever. So yeah, I think that's cool. One of the cool things you can do is this year we're getting another offering from our friends over at Goodman Games, and they have something that is 5th edition compatible. So whether it's 2014 or 2024 or D&D 5.5, they have this new adventure called Pretenders to the Rat King's Throne. So this is an adventure for level 1 to 2 characters, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like 16 pages, so it's a full adventure for low-level parties that kind of, if you want to get your friends into D&D and you don't want to do the traditional Shattered Obelisk or Mines of Phandelver or Stormwreck Isle, here's something else that maybe you haven't had a chance to try yet. Or maybe you want to try something a little bit darker, maybe something a little bit more masquerade-y. So as you guys know, Renegade Game Studios currently has stuff like Werewolf the Apocalypse, Hunter the Reckoning, and this year they're doing a huge thing with something called Tradition of Destruction, and this is something that gives you a complete story that can be played in a single session or woven into your ongoing kind of chronicle. You get 6 playable characters that people can kind of play from, and you can also take 5 of the storyteller characters that they include in this adventure and drop them into your game. So this is a complete standalone adventure, which I do think is pretty kick-ass, and I've always really loved the World of Darkness stuff. Like, I am an old school Hunter the Reckoning player. I played Vampire, I played Werewolf, I played a little bit of Mage, Wraith, Changeling, Demon, Mummy. I've played it all, and honestly, I'm a big fan of Renegade Game Studios, and considering they just had Renegade Con a couple of weeks ago, there's a lot of big stuff coming up for them, especially with Transformers and G.I. Joe being transitioned into D&D 5.5. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with that. So I'm really hoping next year we'll see something more from those guys. I am trying to chase down an interview with someone from Renegade Game Studio, so hopefully that'll happen. We will have to see what happens with that, but they've always been really good to me, and I am looking forward to continuing on those adventures. But maybe for now we'll focus on more of the World of Darkness and see what else comes up with that. They also have Dungeon Crawler Carl, which is another thing I haven't had a chance to get into. I'm kind of surprised we didn't see something for that this year, but they just greenlit the TV show. The books are on like Audible and everywhere, so not hard to find. This book caught my attention because it is so weird, coming from Artal Saurian Games, and that is Fossilized Violence. This is the Quick Start rules. This is written by James Hutt. This is basically dinosaurs. As it writes on the back of the Quick Start here, this is prehistoric role-playing. In Fossilized Violence, early humanity risks everything to fight back against evolving dinosaurs on primeval Pangeon. As you hunt, you'll unlock 140-plus pieces of equipment to give your caveman a chance of surviving long enough to become an elder. And as it says on the back, I love this: play with your plastic dinosaurs again. Break out your old dinosaur toys. Fossilized Violence gives them new life on your game table. Which, you guys know, I'm a toy guy. Jurassic Park toys are still fairly easy to come by. Plus, you could just go to your dollar store. So if you want to grab like a couple of T-Rexes and do that, I'm sure you could have a lot of fun with this. I think that's cool. I remember when Artal Saurian did the Dragon Ball game, and they encouraged you to bring out your like Dragon Ball figures. I still keep hoping someone's going to get that, but I know here in town of Guelph, we do have a new Dragon Ball Z board game coming out, so maybe there'll be an RPG sometime down the road. I certainly would love to see what happens with that. So that, once again, comes to us from Artal Saurian. That is Fossilized Violence. You should definitely be checking that one out. Another thing, now, this is a company I've had a chance to work with before. We reviewed their games on a holiday gift guide about a year or two ago, and that's Evil Genius Games. And they came out with something that's compatible with their everyday heroes. And that's sort of like a 5th edition compatible D20 Modern would be a really good way to do it. But they also have cinematic adventures, which I think you can still get. I think they recently did a Kickstarter for Return of the Living Dead, which is really cool. But this year they're offering an adventure written by Brian C.P. Steele. It's kind of a badass name, called All Bets Are Off. And it is described as a free RPG day adventure that proves every great heist fails at the escape. And this is a cinematic adventure. I love this sort of thing. I love D20 Modern, and with Everyday Heroes, it kind of translates. I'm actually a big fan of it. Once again, you should go check out Evil Genius Games. They've been a wonderful supporter of the show in the past. I'll definitely be checking out more of the Everyday Heroes stuff as it moves forward. Another thing, so this caught my attention, and it's going to be immediately obvious why. Dungeons and Kittens. This is a free RPG Day special. This is brought to you by our friends over at edge-studio.net. It's a game with dungeons and cats. What's not to love? It looks like it comes with this really cool board game set, but it's like you have like certain abilities and like spells and everything. It's more of that cutesy kind of role playing. Kind of reminds you of like Golden Sky Stories, if you know what kind of that is. Again, I dig the vibe. I haven't had a chance to play anything really cozy. I'm used to like saving the world from like Vecna or fighting Clan Jade Falcon or I don't know, fighting like a Methuselah Elder or something. Again, I dig cozy stuff. It's kind of cool. And who doesn't love cats? You guys know I've got Beaker, Dutch, and Ayla. Probably going to be player characters if I ever get a chance to run this. As you guys know, the new hotness in the fantasy RPG space is Daggerheart by Darrington Press, and they're giving you a new adventure that is for Tier 2 play, and this is called The Dying Spire. This is for Daggerheart. This is a 5-act adventure set in Sablewood, a lush fantasy setting that will invite your imagination, as described on the back of the book. This is a level 2 adventure, an easy-to-understand guide that provides all the rules you need to play, 5 pre-generated character options to help players jump into the action, including character sheets, play guides, and card cutouts. This is probably one of the higher quality books that has come out this year in the free RPG Day set. I dig that stuff. I think that's cool. And finally, we're going to close things out on something I think is really fun, and it's called No Place Like Homebrew. And this is called, they kind of describe this booklet as build your own fantasy RPG world with more than 500 ready-to-use locations, factions, and NPCs. As it says on the back of the booklet here, an epic fantasy world awaits, and it's built by you. All of history's greatest fantasy worlds were born from a spark of imagination and a creator with a heart to start building. You are the creator. And No Place Like Homebrew is a book overflowing with inspirations. This book has everything you need to build the worlds you've dreamt of exploring in your D&D games. You'll find hundreds of unique characters, mesmerizing locations, intriguing factions, incredible monsters. Your visions will be brought to life with more than 200 stunning illustrations, hand-drawn by 8 fantasy artists. This book also includes 15 original D&D 5e stat blocks. This is pretty cool. This comes to us from Roll and Play Press. You should check this out. I'm starting to get more into homebrew stuff, so hopefully I will get a chance to connect with these people and perhaps get a review copy sometime down the road. So once again, guys, it is Free RPG Day this weekend. So please go to freerpgday.com, find out a participating location near you, and of course, invite your friends, grab some dice. Please don't get your Cheeto dust fingers on my books, and let's have some fun.
Nintendo Switch 2 editions of these 3 Xenoblade Chronicles games are incoming. All 3 games run at 60 frames per second, with 4K resolution in TV mode or Full HD in handheld mode. In-game cutscenes also have enhanced resolution and frame rate. Not only that, but you can travel on a high-speed vehicle in the first game, control blades to fight mercenary squad battles in the second, and put your strength to the test against waves of enemies in the third. There's also a variety of other content added to each of the 3 games. More details will be revealed at a later date. The digital version of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, and the Upgrade Pack will be available later today. The physical version launches on July 30th. The Nintendo Switch 2 editions of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 will be available on the dates shown on screen.
Alex, the producer here, and our friends over at Nintendo sent a review copy of the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition for us to check out and review. As you know, I'm a big fan of the franchise. It's one of my favorites. We've covered every release since, I guess, 2 onward on the show here. And then going back and covering, obviously, when they first ported this game to Switch, we did talk about it, but I think at that time we didn't actually do a full review or a review copy of it because it was sort of out at the same time as a lot of other stuff, and it was more like, hey, see our opinions on bam. So I'm not going to go into like a full-blown review because we already know it's one of the best titles on the Switch, one of the best Nintendo-owned IPs, in my personal opinion. It's more about just like, how does it feel different playing the Switch 1 version versus this new Switch 2 edition? And I can say it's a massive upgrade. There had been some people hemming and hawing, and they weren't so sure if it was going to be a good idea, or did they handle it well? Because when we covered the Switch 2 upgrade edition of Xenoblade Chronicles X or Cross, depending on how they want to pronounce it, there was controversy. I enjoyed it. I felt that it was... It did feel better playing it, but it did have a lot of visual issues because of their choice of the AI upscaler that they used. It was not as optimized as it could have been, and it downgraded the visuals when it shouldn't have. It downgraded the visuals, but increased the frame rate. So it was like a bit of a trade-off, and that we're still sort of waiting on patches for that. But probably, seeing as how extensive they've done with these games, or at least this edition here for Chronicles 1, it's pretty... I would say it's probably going to happen that they're going to be doing upgrades to that, but as it stands, what's the big difference here between the Switch 1 version and the Switch 2? Well, massive. We go from like what was ostensibly like a 720p or 800p resolution, even in TV mode, up all the way up to 4K when plugged in. 4K 60, pretty much locked. I didn't encounter like any slowdowns or anything at all. And then in handheld mode, you get 1080p 60. So it's like you're doubling the frame rate and between double and quadrupling the actual resolution actively. The textures are way more detailed, and it's not just they scale it bigger. Like, it's completely different, like upgraded assets, because when you download the Switch 1 version of the game, it's 13 gigabytes. And it's over 30 it's like closer to 40-ish when you're downloading the Switch 2 version. And there's, only one reason that would happen. It's completely larger textures, and then there's like a little bit more audio, but the audio wouldn't be that much. They've also added the EtherJet, which is a vehicle. Basically, the first game in the series was known that it had like large, expansive areas, and it could be slow to traverse when you're trying to like hunt down end game stuff or just go from area to area to find secrets and that. It would take a long time to travel or swim in these large open-bodied water areas. And in later games, they had the ability to travel faster through different means. They didn't have that in the original version of this game. So they've added the ether vehicles, which basically you can call up a vehicle and travel way quicker across. The heart-to-heart conversations, which for anybody that's maybe not known what that is in these games, but you've played other RPGs before, in the Tales franchise, that's sort of like your private actions or your private scenes, where usually in a game things would pop up and you'd see like some character portraits talking, and you could just like flavor text and stuff you could see that wasn't necessarily key to the plot. A lot of games don't bother doing voice acting for that, or that they do, it's only in Japanese, simply because it's a lot of extra lines to translate and do that way. But what they've done here is they've gone and taken what wasn't voiced originally, and they've added the voice work to it. So now all those heart-to-hearts are completely fully voiced in both English and Japanese. There's new outfits that you can get for cosmetics for the characters, which is always cool. There's streamlined quest tracking. There's remastered music tracks. What that means is the music is at a higher bit rate, and I noticed a lot less bit crushing, meaning there's a higher dynamic range of what you can listen to. So it is a higher fidelity audio than what was previously available. So that's probably contributing somewhat to the the file size increase. And that's just a whole lot of cool stuff here. If you've never been a fan, previously, but you've been on the fence about whether you should pick it up, this truly is the definitive way to play it, no pun intended. And I do think this is a great time to jump in, because they've already announced that the second game and the third game are getting this treatment later on. Hopefully we'll get a chance to review it and talk to you about that. And then, X has already been out for a while, but you can start the franchise now, and by the time you're done playing each one of these games, they'll have that brand new Genesis game that they announced. Genesis is in the title, not as in the console, and that'll be coming out next year. So, fingers crossed that this builds up the franchise, because I think it's one of the best underrated RPG franchises out there, and you're definitely worth your time picking it up if you have a Switch 2.
Those magnificent bastards! Color me kooky, but something very odd is going on around here.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
And that's the kind of show it has been right here on This Week in Geek. And like I said, this is a review show for us just to clear out our backlogs. I'm not talking about sad stuff. I'm going into the summer with hopefully a smile on my face, despite how the world is gestures to everything. I mean, there have been some good things, like, Canada won its first World Cup game ever. Awesome. The Knicks won. Awesome. The DC reflecting pool looks like it could turn you into the Joker. Not so awesome, but funny. It has been
exactly. We're going to keep things fun and light.
Yeah, like I don't want to report on things that make me sad, and it's not because I'm a bleeding heart or whatever you want to call me. It's just like, I want to do things that make me happy, and I want to do things that make you guys happy. In fact, there was something you shared with me a couple of weeks ago. We had someone, we don't know who this person is, they downloaded like 1,200 of our episodes in like Vietnam or Laos or something.
It was Vietnam, and we've had that before where I'll look and I'll be like, okay, so where are our users coming from? And it'll be like, wait a minute. And sometimes if it's like India, you think it's like a bot farm or something. And you can't really break down exactly where everything comes from. But like a lot of times it's like, it'll be like East Asia and all these places. It'll be like one or two IP addresses downloaded a bunch. And what I figured is it's likely somebody working in a factory or somebody working as like a truck driver, because I know people would do that in the States too. They will have like a big spike around the time that a bunch of drivers would go on like a long haul ride, where they're maybe they're going to be on the road for like 2 weeks, a 14-day stretch on their cycle, and they'll just download on Wi-Fi like, I don't know, 200 hours of podcasts, just so they can have something for when they hit the areas of the road where even the satellite radio doesn't pick up very well, especially like if they're driving around like Appalachia, like XM satellite radio doesn't work there. So it's better just to have a bunch of like downloaded stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. And just, it's nice to have something interesting to do. So that's why, like, this summer, Adam and Ken and Dave have really stepped up to the plate, because obviously I'm working like 10,000 jobs right now to pay for fucking law school. And they're doing a lot of stuff on Loose Cannon. I know this weekend they recorded stuff on the Darkman trilogy, which was really awesome. I mean, Sam Raimi's attempt at superheroes before Spider-Man, which is pretty cool. I know we're doing another show. We're going to do movies on actors that we don't feel get enough love. To give you a preview of that, I picked Carl Urban, and the two movies that really made me pay attention to him were Dread, obviously, but also to a lesser extent Starch, the 3 J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, because I think he played a wonderful Dr. McCoy, and I don't think that was a conventional choice for that casting. So I really had a lot of fun with that. Plus, we're talking about doing some Disney movies. We might take a look at all the editions of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Mortal Kombat is now available on digital with the 4K coming out sometime in July. I think that'd be really fun to kind of catch up with that. I'd love to talk about the animated movies. I know the last, I think about a early last year at some point, you showed me some of the Mortal Kombat animated movies because you got them for review or something. And I think that'll be fun to talk about those, because I think Mortal Kombat's a franchise that I think needs a little bit more love, because I think Mortal Kombat 2 should have done better, but it didn't.
Yeah, and we've got, as far as like stuff that I've got ready to go, this show is likely coming out a day or two later than we usually would put it out, just due to time schedules. But I actually have a loose cannon that I recorded with Aaron on that. Remember, we had talked for years. He wanted me to watch that Strippers versus Werewolves movie. He would talk about it. I watched it. I was like, this is interesting. So it's a shorter episode. And it was one of those things where everybody else was busy doing their own things. And he's like, I've been wanting to record that for a while. I was like, you know what, dude, let's just do it. And we rolled in to record it one day, and it was an interesting movie. I'll tell you that much. And I'm going to probably put that out in the regular slot of when we would usually have the regular show, and then this will come like a little bit after that. But there's also Random Access Memories episodes that we can sort of throw out over the next few weeks. For anybody wondering, where's Future Imperfect been? We've been sort of banking the Future Imperfect episodes. That's what's going to fill up a lot of our summer slots. So we usually have the regular show every Monday. So we're going to alternate, every other Monday, we're going to throw up one of our Future Imperfects. We've been doing the Star Trek movies. We have pre-recorded some of them over the course of the last few months, actually, in the background. And then we still have our ones that we recorded, Mike, actually during our last break, where we were like, let's have some stuff that we can talk about for, whenever. And it's like Ad Astra, Interstellar, and then our James Cameron Avatar franchise discussion. So we've got that sort of stuff. That's going to be coming out over the break. So Future Imperfect will be back. It'll be back and filling in for the regular stuff that we do.
Yeah. Also, because we typically do this each and every year, I've already been in contact with James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, and also our good buddy Enrique Couto from Weekly Spookies. We're discussing the Halloween show. I think we've narrowed down our topic for the year, and it may be a little more research heavy than I expected, but I love the idea. If I think we're going to land on this topic, which I think we are, it's very reminiscent of a show I did 10 years ago at this point, almost, with Nerd to the Third Power. And James and Enrique are very good researchers. They're also very much into the horror and the occult history of Americana. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think we're going to be talking about urban legends. Or the other topic that has come close is pre-Scream 1990s horror. So this was the era of the direct-to-video horror movie. So a lot of the Hellraiser sequels had come out during this time. Stuff like Mimic and Species.
All the Wishmaster and
yeah.
What's the other one that has like... Is it a Wishmaster? What's the one that has like 12 witch something or other? Warlock, Wishmaster, and something else. There's a few of these that have like 13 or 14 editions of their films.
Yeah.
And they're all from that era of the early to mid 90s.
Yeah, so it's almost exclusively like Dimension Films or whatever. And it's
New Line, Dimension, was it like New Concord or whatever? Like there's a few of them, Millennium Pictures. Like it's the prime era of the direct rentals of horror.
Yeah, and
where they didn't always get a theatrical run, but they had a good budget because rentals, like back then, they could guarantee that they would sell 200,000 tapes at $250 a piece to the rental stores.
Yeah, so we haven't quite decided. Like we're literally doing our emails back and forth right now. We're just trying to settle on that. But yeah, like that might be a really fun time in horror to like kind of talk about, because there's a lot of really good gems there. Some of those, thanks to people like Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow Video and Scream Factory, have put out some of these lesser known releases, putting them out on a a good Blu-ray, or in most cases, a really good 4K. So that
You're seeing that a lot with the
boutique.
boutique companies, like there's like Refinery Films and a few other where they'll put out maybe only 1 or 2 pictures a year, but they're all 4K copies of stuff that nobody else has ever done before. So it's always cool seeing it's cool seeing what the boutiques, or I forget the name of it, but one of the companies that has been sending stuff in for me to check out has been prime 90s shot on shitty video horror films. And there's something weird. I think one company is Something Weird, and then there's a few others where that's what they've been putting out. And I'm like, ooh, the distributor was like, hey, would you like to check out some of these? I was like, ooh, gimme. Those are fun because nobody put them online before. You can't watch them on like Tubi or anything. Either there's like VHS copies online or there's nothing at all. And it's not like anybody else is going to put out the back catalog of like shot on video stuff. So I'm like, yes, gimme. So if there's anything cool that comes in that way, I'll let you know. As far as what else is coming just this week, we do have the next episode of your spell book, which I believe is more than a stat block is what you.
Yeah, that was a really fun one. Me and Damien, we're probably going to record a bunch in the first week of July. We're trying to get some interviews. I've reached out to some very big dungeon tubers. So hopefully we'll hear back from a couple of those fellow content creators. I'm trying to get a couple interviews with some RPG writers. We've got some really good topics. Like me and Damien have like 30 topics we're talking about right now. And the spellbook's been a lot of fun to record. It's actually made me enjoy, D&D a lot more, like not just as a game master, but as a player. So really looking forward to hearing that. Once again, you can hear the Spellbook Wednesdays at some point during the day, but if you want to hear it live as it airs, you can go to cfru.ca, and we air Wednesdays at noon. So
yeah, Wednesdays at noon live, CFRU, and then we generally have it syndicated by about 5-6 p.m.
Yeah,
like
so
and then the other show that we've got coming this week is the next Earth versus Soup, episode 313, Beast of Yellow Night from 1971. That's coming on Thursday. And I have begun the process of basically doing the audio leveling, processing, getting all the raw files prepped for the next batch of like 100 of them, because we're having episode 313 is coming out. I have been sent up to 440 something.
Oh my God.
So it's because we do one a week, but sometimes Aaron and Darlene will end up recording 2 or 3 in a week. And then think about how many that bounces up when we're holding on to them. So we've got plenty of stuff coming from them. I just have to basically, during our break, I will take a few days, 1 day a week maybe, and then just edit and make sure the audio sounds fine on, I don't know, like batches of 10 at a time. And then by the end of the summer, we will have Earth versus Soups going into 2028.
Jesus, that's a lot of content. But yeah, guys, so you're not going to be bored. Long story short.
No siree.
So my wife is signaling me that she wants to have dessert now, so I have to go. So anyway, guys, like I said, we will be back next week with the final live show of the spring, and then we will be off into pre-recorded content, but we'll break in during the summer as we have mentioned. So keep it locked here to thisweekingeek.net for more great geek content. I will also, maybe for the reviews tomorrow, I might have a preview of some of the free RPG Day stuff, which you can get beginning this Saturday at your friendly local game store. So check to see if they have stuff. So go to freerpgday.com if you want to find out more information about that. I might talk about what's in the kit this year and what you can find out from your favorite TTRPG friends out there in the world of dice and beyond. So for This Week in Geek, we have been
Alex, the producer.
I've been Mike the Birdman, saying be excellent to each other. Happy Father's Day. Happy Indigenous History Day. But otherwise, just have yourselves a wonderful week. Please be good to each other. And we'll catch you guys again next time, right here on thisweekingeek.net.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Thanks for listening to this episode of This Week in Geek. Hungry for more? Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net. You can subscribe to the podcast, browse our Twitter and Instagram, and leave your thoughts on today's topics. If you'd like to give us some feedback, send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. Tune in next time, and remember,
Lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.